Hello, this is Paul Blackmore again, back with the fifth installment on the series Reasons Why We Should Make Room for Open Theism in the Church Today. And the reason I'd like to give in this video segment is the reason of hope. Pay attention here as I read Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 4, written by the wisest man who ever lived, King Solomon. But for him who is joined to all the living, there is hope. For a living dog is better than a dead lion. You know, the open theist view is laden with hope. And I suppose emotionally, this is one of the things that draws me to it more than anything else. The certain knowledge that the future is by no means cast in stone, to me, spells hope to everyone. Every person that I meet in my store, every person that I meet on the street or the grocery store or whatever it might be, every person I meet or interact with, I have the full and absolute certain knowledge that there is hope for this individual. Nobody has been ruled against. God, he sheds his light on all men. Christ is the light that lighteth all men which come into the world. God speaks to everyone. He calls everyone. There are no infringements on that invitation. When Jesus says, "Whosoever will, let him come unto me," that is an invitation which is good for everyone. There's no select list. There's no pre-selected list. There is hope for everyone. Although God does have his designs and his purposes in history, and he may very well have some specific judgments or difficulties aligned for his own very good reasons, for nations, for families, for communities, for churches, for individuals, world leaders, and the like. Nonetheless, there is hope. There is hope that such things might be lessened. There's hope that such things might be altered, amended, shortened, if you will. Think of the judgment that came in the days of David. For multiple reasons, David was incited. God ultimately allowed it, but he was incited by Satan to number the people. And then there had to be a judgment. God had issues with the nation at large, and thereby allowed Satan to step in, tempt David to do the sin of numbering the people, which according to the law he was not supposed to do. But even in that, even in the fact that there had to be a judgment in God's ordering and in God's judgment, there had to be a judgment at that time, God gave David three choices. He said, you choose which one it will be. Will it be pestilence? Will it be war? Will it be famine? What will it be? And David was the one who chose that judgment, and God did what David chose. So what it says to me is that the future is very, very much open. It's not as if God is watching a video where everything is recorded start to finish and God knows what it is. Think how ridiculous that would be. If there were such a video of human history, God would have to show up at the right time, say the words that he knew billions of years before he was ever going to have to say. Nothing would be fresh to him. There would be no interaction. God couldn't look at a flock of birds enjoying watching which way they would dip and soar. God would know it all already. There would be no surprise. What is to look forward to the marriage supper of the Lamb? Everything that's going to be said, all the praise, it's all known word for word, verbatim. Agony the people is going to go through, how you're planning to come in, you've got to show up at just the right time. It's ridiculous to think of the future and human history in such a context. It is not meaningful. It has no, God could possibly not, how could God enjoy a puppet show like that? Even if he didn't ordain it and just foreknew every single detail, how could God enjoy that? What would ever refresh the heart of God? Nothing would. Read here also this passage, listen to this passage here. In Daniel chapter 4, King Nebuchadnezzar needed to be taught a lesson. And this was going to come He was going to be humbled, made to be like the beast, as it says here, till you know that the Most High rules in the kingdom of man and gives it to whomever he chooses. There you have the sovereignty of God. God interferes as much as he chooses to interfere in the course of human history, because he has got, at the end of the day, his agenda, which he will interfere to what degree he has to in order to get the large courses of history flowing in the way he wants. But as individuals, we have a choice whether we want to be on God's team or we want to be on Satan's team. Daniel continues on, and inasmuch as they gave the command to leave the stump and roots of the tree, your kingdom shall be assured to you after you come to know that heaven rules. So I am not suggesting for a second that God does not rule. Of course heaven rules. God could, if he wanted to, he could make it a puppet show. He chooses not to. Many things, the important things, he does exert a lot of leadership and a lot of sovereign control. So here's Daniel's advice. Knowing that God has got a plan, knowing that there is judgment been pronounced against King Nebuchadnezzar, Daniel doesn't say, oh, it's not going to happen. But here's what he says. Therefore, O king, let my advice be acceptable to you. Break off your sins by being righteous, and your iniquities by showing mercy to the poor. Perhaps there may be a lengthening of your prosperity. See, isn't that what hope is all about? That's really where we are at this world. According to most biblical scholars who believe in the rapture, who believe in a tribulation, a literal tribulation on this earth, most of the significant writers within the church are talking about that event and wondering really why it has not happened yet. The fact of the matter is, hope remains for this world. Those events are going to come. But we have a window of hope that may be that big. Maybe if we could catch the vision, we might be able to push it maybe even to that big. If people break off their sins, if there were a revival, if people were to turn back to the Lord, if there was to be a revival in Canada, the States, or the world, if God had good enough reason to delay this ultimate final judgment that's going to fall on this world, after which there will be no hope, God most certainly would do it. He waited extra time in the days of Noah. God showed mercy to the people of Nineveh when Jonah preached. God is reluctant to judge. We need, if ever there was a time in human history where we needed to catch a vision of realistic hope and the possibility for an extended period of peace for this world, we need to think beyond our own little parochial church boundaries of what can and cannot be. We need to understand that the Bible, because things are not fully predetermined, many things are predetermined, but much of it is not. There is possibility for lengthenings. There's possibility also for shortenings. God says, why should you be destroyed before your time? There is room, there is wiggle room in the human course of human history. We need to understand that, and that means that there's hope. And certainly for individuals, there is a ton of hope. And we're going to close off this segment now, and the next installment, God willing, we got 2 more to go, will be on the topic of revival. So thanks for watching, God bless, and we'll catch you on the next video.